Good morning. It is 9 a.m. Thanks for watching Daybreak here on WGRZ Plus, where we are streaming through another half hour here. It is 30 degrees on this Wednesday. I'm Melissa Holmes, and we're getting more information on what Border Patrol tells us was an illegal human smuggling case across the Niagara River involving a couple and their baby. Andre Carrillo Hernandez was briefly in federal court in Buffalo yesterday morning as he waived his right to a detention hearing amidst plea negotiations. He is accused of illegally smuggling a couple and their baby onto Grand Island from Canada. The Border Patrol says in the early morning hours of March 15th, Hernandez, who is from Mexico, used this small inflatable raft to bring an Irish man and an English woman with their 8-month-old child across the Niagara River in below freezing temperatures. Agents say the raft was spotted with an infrared camera. Agents took Hernandez into custody and then heard the baby crying, which led them to the couple hiding behind a tree. In a statement, the Border Patrol sector chief spoke about the risk to the couple and the baby in the very cold conditions and risk to agents who arrested them. In a previous 2024 border smuggling case with a raft carrying people across the river, a Border Patrol agent said this.
They're just told, here, get in this raft. You've paid me money. Get in this raft. Go over there. Someone will pick you up or call a lift.
Hernandez, who agents say had no previous record, was sent back to detention for now. The Irishman is being held because agents say that he had been deported previously last June and is also tied to a felony assault case in Rhode Island. The English woman and her baby were sent back to Canada. Well, in less than an hour, Governor Kathy Hochul will be in Cheektowaga. She's scheduled to speak at the Cheektowaga Senior Center on Broadway at 9:45 this morning. We're expecting the governor to talk about her budget proposal. The state budget is due in just a few days on April 1st. Earlier this month, we reported that Governor Hochul is proposing $40 million in state funding to help dig the city of Buffalo out of its budget deficit. 2 Canadian citizens have been arrested at the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge during a drug bust over the weekend. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says a drug canine alerted officers to a car crossing the border on Saturday, which led to a search. And that's when officers say they found these 6 vacuum-sealed bags of marijuana hidden inside the car's doors and trunk. Authorities say the drugs weighed about 6 pounds and have an estimated street value of more than $16,000. 43-year-old Andrea Sievewright and 35-year-old Daniel Hughes were arrested and are now facing felony marijuana charges. An Erie County Court judge sentenced a Tonawanda man to serve 12 years in prison for threatening someone with a gun outside the Tops on Jefferson. It happened last June, and 35-year-old Deveo Pena was driving his car in the store's parking lot when he waved a gun at another man in the parking lot, putting him in fear of harm. This is not the first time Pena has served time behind bars. We've got video from back in 2013 here when he pled guilty to breaking into Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz' home. And now, more than a decade later, Pena is convicted of criminal weapon possession, menacing, and resisting arrest. The passenger in his car at the time, 39-year-old Ronnie Midget of Buffalo, is scheduled to be sentenced today on weapons charges, and he faces up to 7 years behind bars. We've got an update now on that fire that we first told you about yesterday here on Daybreak. The Buffalo Fire Department now says 1 person died following that house fire on Potomac, right near the Elmwood Village. Crews were called to that home just after midnight yesterday. After putting out the fire, which started in a second-floor kitchen, firefighters found a man inside. He was identified as Aaron Conziella. Crews pulled him from the home, but he was in cardiac arrest, and he later died at the hospital. Investigators believe the fire was accidental. Congressman Tim Kennedy is now calling for a federal investigation into the death of a Buffalo refugee. In a letter to the newly confirmed Homeland Security Secretary, Kennedy says he wants answers about Nurul Amin Shah Alam. The visually impaired refugee was released from custody last month and dropped off barefoot outside a closed Tim Hortons in Black Rock by Border Patrol agents. And he was reported missing on February 19th and found dead several days later on Perry Street. Kennedy is now pushing for a full timeline of what happened and whether federal policies failed to protect a vulnerable individual. New this morning, Public Espresso is shutting down. The company just made a post on Instagram within the past hour. Their last day of business will be on April 4th. Part of the quote reads, The last 13 years have been some of the most rewarding and challenging, but the landscape of operating a small business has changed drastically in that time. It has ebbed and flowed in many directions, and we have finally found the changing tides too difficult to navigate, end quote. Public Espresso, which is in the Lafayette, the Hotel Lafayette, says the closure will not impact cafes operated by Dash's Market. The outpouring for TSA workers continues this morning. As you know, they've gone weeks without a paycheck because of a stalemate over DHS funding. A lot of TSA agents are in situations where they live paycheck to paycheck. So leaders in the city of Good Neighbors are trying to lend a helping hand however they can. And yesterday, the NFTA held a gift card donation drive at the Buffalo Niagara Airport. And now the Buffalo Niagara Honor Flight wants to help out TSA agents as well. Daybreak's Natalie Foss was at the airport where TSA agents are getting to enjoy some sweet treats this morning.
Today here at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport, Honor Flight Buffalo wanted to do something to give back to TSA agents who continue to go without pay. They brought Paula's Donuts for all of the shifts of the TSA agents as a small token of their gratitude for all that they do for them. TSA continues to go without pay and continue to show up to work here at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. Honor Flight says that they always do such an amazing job making their veterans feel like absolute heroes and movie stars as they go through TSA. So they said this was an important thing for them to do for those who are always making their veterans feel special.
If it can lift them for a day to know that we do appreciate them, and I suspect we represent all of this local area, and being so appreciative of our TSA officers. They're awesome.
We continue to see Western New Yorkers step up for the TSA agents here at the Buffalo Airport. Yesterday, the NFTA ran a gift card collection. They say that they collected over $16,000 worth of gift cards that are going directly to TSA agents who are affected. On your side at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
A nice small token of appreciation for sure. All right, it is 9:07. Patrick, 30 degrees out there. Still feeling quite chilly out there this morning.
It did, but I was just on the roof, and it felt better. There wasn't much of a breeze. Yeah, it is still chilly. Jacket weather for sure, but we should be able to peel that off this afternoon, close to 50. Tomorrow, close to 60, but it's going to rain, it looks like. Tomorrow, late afternoon, evening. We'll see if it speeds up a little bit, but it looks like the second half of the day, the morning looks dry. And then Friday, we're back into the 30s. So yeah, one more shot of some cooler air Friday, Saturday, and then that should be it for a while. April still can deliver some cool shots and wintry, even some snow, but we don't see any of that anytime soon. Once we get into next week, it's more of a southerly flow, warmer temperatures. Doesn't mean rain-free, but it does mean warmer times ahead, especially, again, next week, the following weekend, and then maybe the week after that, okay? There are the clouds, just kind of a stream of clouds over us, high clouds that the sun can kind of glow through, okay? So it's cloudy out there, but it almost at times kind of feels sunny because the sun peeks through. Temperatures today around 50, mid-50s though for the southern tier, and then for tomorrow close to 60, but there will be rain, okay? Especially the second half of the day as mentioned. So here is future look. Temperatures rebounding nicely, close to 50. There are the clouds. Overnight tonight, a few showers are possible, and then dry weather for the morning drive tomorrow. Looks fine. Then here comes the rain. Notice it's kind of late afternoon. If this timing holds, pretty good soaking rain, it looks like, Thursday night. And then as the rain shifts south, colder temperatures follow the rain. And there could be a little burst of a quick little shot of snow. We'll see. It's all about timing with that. The moisture might be gone by the time the cold air arrives, but if they come at the same time, there might be a quick little shot of snow. And then Friday, it looks like we end up with some sunshine, but it'll be a chilly sunshine with temperatures, once again in the 30s. So for the Bison's home opener, it's going to be cold. I think the sun will be out with a few clouds, but it will be chilly. Mostly cloudy tonight after a mostly cloudy day today. Then rain showers tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon. A little breezy tomorrow, too. 7-day forecast. There's the dry weather through the weekend. The weekend looks pretty good. You know, it's not the warmest weekend, but 30s on Saturday, 40s on Sunday, and then some rain showers, Melissa, on Tuesday.
It's fine.
My thoughts,
Very
exactly.
springy, right? I'm just ready for it to be warm, as we all are.
Me too.
Like for an extended period of time. Okay, Patrick, thanks. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll talk sports coming up after the break. All right, tonight marks the start of the Buffalo Sabres 4-game homestand as they return from a strong West Coast trip, picking up 7 of 8 possible points. And they've been really great at home. 22-9-3 is their record, and 11 straight sellouts, as Lindy Ruff credits the fan support during a stretch that's seen them win 12 of their last 14. The homestand begins tonight as the Sabres host the Boston Bruins with puck drop at 7:30. So today's Wednesday, then they play Friday, they play Saturday, and then they play again, I believe, on Tuesday at home. 11 games counting tonight.
11,
is
okay.
what's left.
And that's through, I'm assuming, the next 2.5 weeks, right? So yeah, that makes sense. And then, but we still, the thing that's bugging me is we still have 2 games in hand, or maybe it's now one. Against, because that just, I don't know. You want that to even out so we can kind of get a better representation of where we stand against, you know, the Lightning.
Right, they're 1 point ahead of the Lightning right now in the for the Atlantic Division.
That was 2 points, the Lightning. Isn't it?
Is it 95-93? Okay,
yeah,
so
I think
2
it's
points
2, right.
with the Lightning, and then 1 point behind Carolina
yeah.
right now for the conference. And yeah, so it's fun to watch on Sabres.com. They let you know who you should be rooting for each night with different games around the league, so you can check that out. But it also says in there that according to one of the stats online, it's 99.95% chance of the Sabres finally breaking that playoff drought. And yeah, it'll be the first time since 2011.
And then also, kind of an interesting little thought is that for the first time, the Sabres are going to be playing a playoff game on the same, maybe on the same day or night as the draft. So meaning, remember how everything was focused on the draft during draft season for the Bills. Now there's going to be a Sabres playoff game, maybe the same night. You know, so.
Of the NHL draft?
I'm sorry, the NFL draft.
The NFL draft.
The NFL draft is, I think, the 23rd of April, and there could be a playoff Sabres game like on the same day or night. And you know how much focus the draft gets around here, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's like.
No, it'll be interesting for Sabres fans to have something to watch in April. And party in the plazas with nice weather. I mean,
help me out with that,
deal.
since I have not been here for one of those. What those are.
Well, you don't need a ticket.
Okay.
And it's before the game.
Okay.
And there are, photo opportunities, balloons, Instagrammable things, live music and food trucks and everything. And that's right in front of KeyBank Center. And then a lot of people go in, but then they have the game playing on a big screen outside. So everyone without a ticket can watch outside. It's a huge party.
So during
in the plaza.
the heyday, this was a common thing during the Sabres playoff runs in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's been a long time.
No, of course, yeah. So it's this is just unfamiliar territory.
How much has changed since 2011? And
right.
Yeah, I mean, kids who are freshmen in high school have never seen the Sabres play. I mean, just the old versions of iPhones, and there was no Uber.
3.
Uber was just becoming a thing. There was no Instacart. You could still get tickets and paper tickets at the box office.
Well, that's how I define my life: pre and post Instacarts. Right? Forget AD and BC. It's Instacart. BIC before Instacart.
I don't know what else.
AIC.
I just think of like a generation of hockey players right now, little kids that play hockey that are on like the junior Sabres that have never seen the Sabres in the playoffs.
It's insane, and I think once I've heard, and again playoff hockey is a different animal.
Yeah.
And when you can tell, oh, this is playoff hockey. It's faster, it's more intense. And I gotta believe it's exceptionally tiring on the players because you got to keep that energy and momentum up, for these long series.
Yeah.
And the season goes until June, as you know. So
knock on wood.
Right.
Where's the wood? The players are healthy on the Sabres right now.
That's a good point.
There have been very few injuries, and so if they can stay healthy and keep the momentum going, there's a lot of talk that the Sabres are not just in the playoffs, but Stanley Cup contenders. very, very fun to see.
And honestly, does any of this run, this 40-game run, does it kind of coincide when Darlene left and came back? Doesn't that seem like it kind of started around then? And I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to write some romantic script that he. Well, that too, of course. Yeah,
right.
That's probably more important. But I was just thinking about, you mentioned being sick or ill. Or injured, and
right.
we haven't missed any players' time, except Darlene, of course, had to leave
right.
for a little bit.
Puck had a little bit of an injury, came back, and he was fine.
And he was fine, and then he went for his wife.
And then
right.
when UPL was gone because of injury, it was like, oh, Alex Lyon, and then Ellis really stepped up. And
right.
so our goaltending has been amazing. It was a fear in the beginning of the season that the goaltending would be the biggest issue. Mm-hmm. And look at how great they've been playing.
Yeah.
So lots of fun. Okay, so now from the Sabres to the Bills, we are getting an inside look at the stadium. Look how green that grass is. It's real grass, folks, but it's heated. So that's what your grass could look like if you had heat during the winter.
Hold on. Okay, what lawn anywhere in Western New York looks like that? I mean, that is.
Is it spray painted too?
I guess. Okay. Does the heated grass allow the seeds to germinate more quickly because it's heated? Why are there? I don't see any dandelions.
I don't know.
I don't see any blue crabgrass.
Not the Hammer household. Rob Hackford got this inside look at Highmark Stadium, and he was on the field, and here's what he saw yesterday.
The Bills are at 93% in terms of construction, and they're hoping to get to 99 as they reach that substantial completion mark. Again, the Bills say that 99% is the mark they hope to hit by June, when they'll take occupancy or have occupancy of this building. But that remaining 1% is paperwork, other housekeeping items. The team remains on track again, with the first events expected to be in August. Walking along the concourse, you are still hearing and seeing a lot of work being done, wire being run, glass being installed, paneling being put in, but there's flooring in certain spaces. And it's finishing work that they're mostly taking care of. The fire alarms are also being tested, one of those boxes that have to be checked before the county signs off on their occupancy. The suites have seats and kitchen furnishings. And the Bright Red Bar in the Field Club at field level is almost ready for furniture. And as the new stadium team will tell you, at this stage in construction, every day is a new adventure.
I've learned that whether it's a $2 billion stadium or a $200,000 stadium, the problems and the challenges are the same. They're just on a different scale. So there's a lot that you deal with on a small project, similar things here, and it's a similar process to overcome them.
We get beat up every day. You go home and you just come back at it, and then you get to see something that you've been envisioning for yourself, for the fans, for ownership, for the league, all of that. And it's happening at a pace now where it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, pride for the team working on this, the men and women on the construction crews as well. And looking around, the heated grass field is just immaculate, lush to the touch and green as can be, making it through winter unscathed. And the lights in the stadium were on. The sound system is installed. We did ask the Bills about the wind. It's not a particularly windy day, so we couldn't get a great judge of things in the bowl. They say they have some preliminary data that they're going to be working through to gauge whether the sheathing on the outside of the stadium is doing the job that it was designed to do. But the stadium is very close for football and fans. On your side in Orchard Park, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
I have no idea when I'll be able to go in and look at it. Like, if you don't have the PSL, I don't know how you're going to get a ticket to go inside and see it.
You can't ignore the fact that, yeah, that looks beautiful, but most of us won't see it. I mean, unless you're lucky enough to get invited or have a PSL, but it looks beautiful. One of the things, my takeaway, I thought, and I'm kind of glad, there still is a lot of open air, so there's a lot of exposure to weather still. I guess I saw the renderings, I just thought there was more. But there's still...
Snow will fall inside the stadium.
Right. I mean, so there's obviously less of an impact due to weather, but there still will be some.
So much to explore and to see.
Yeah.
And how cool of these crews to be able to say, I built this or I did this. I was part of this amazing stadium that's going to be part of Western New York for 30 years.
Construction men and women who... take their kids down the road and say, Mommy and Daddy helped build this place.
Right.
That's
I remember
cool.
that when they put up the final steel beam, Terry Pagula was there for that topping off ceremony and said that he wanted to create some sort of commemoration inside the stadium with like some sort of kiosk where you could look at their names, and like all of the workers' names are in this computer system that is in the stadium, so you can like scroll through and see it, and something like that. Like,
cool.
There's just so many little things that still need to be done. But yeah, again, 93% done right now. What do you think about the seat colors, though, real quickly before we go to break?
I at first you're like, is there a mistake? Right. But I like it because instead of it having just look like a bland color, it gives it like visual texture.
Like a wave of sorts. Like,
and it's all random, but I think it's almost more appealing rather than just have it just blah.
And like in the old odd, it was like, oh, I'm up in the nosebleeds, I'm in the golds. And you know, reds, golds, blues. Here, there's no color section.
At first you're like, did they bring the wrong truck in? They were supposed to all be blue. But I like it. I think it's cool.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll introduce you to a man being recognized as one of the selfless among us in Western New York. Welcome back. Daybreak loves celebrating the people who help Buffalo live up to its reputation as a city of good neighbors. And that includes one Williamsville man whose personal struggles led to a lifetime of helping others. At his lowest point, he could have given up, but instead he has given back. We introduce you to Sammy V, who's one of the selfless among us.
Good morning, St. Francis Red Raiders. Let's hear it.
He walks across stage with energy. His message is about turning pain into purpose.
The secret to success in life is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you.
For more than 2 decades, Sammy Violante has been sharing his life lessons, giving thousands of inspirational speeches and never charging a penny.
Maybe the setback is a setup.
And for students at St. Francis, it's hitting home.
I really liked his point that our passions are really what we need to follow.
Before this mission, Sammy V, as he calls himself, was a highly successful investment broker until the pressure of it all and obsessive-compulsive disorder brought it all crashing down.
So OCD takes my marriage, it takes my profession, major depression, on the brink of suicide.
For many, that would have been the end. But for Sammy V, it became his turning point.
I started to volunteer homeless, runaway kids at a place called Compass House.
And that's when his outlook on life changed forever.
A life is truly not important unless it positively impacts the lives of others.
He doesn't use a cell phone or computer, so this planner of his is packed daily with volunteering and speaking engagements.
You make a living on what you get, but you make a life on what you give.
And he's also led an OCD support group for 17 years, again, free of charge.
We're literally changing and saving people's lives here.
It makes me feel more at ease knowing that I'm not alone.
From growing vegetables to feed the hungry, to requesting charitable donations as opposed to gifts for his birthday, and to selling off his sports memorabilia collection to give the proceeds away. Friends say he lives what he teaches.
Sammy V is easily the most selfless, spiritual, and special human being I have ever met.
I didn't want to live anymore.
A life defined not by what he lost, but by what he gives.
My volunteering became my purpose. My purpose has become my passion. My passion has become my calling.
And Sammy V hopes the lives he touches leave inspired to find a purpose of their own.
Give yourself a round of applause, St. Francis!
At 72 years old, Sammy V has no intentions of slowing down. In fact, he says after viewers see this story, he hopes more people will reach out to him to speak to their school, their organization, their business, their church group, because he just wants to share his message, live out his purpose, and inspire others to do the same. Again, all for free. He went from making 6 figures to living on disability and only living on that, and then doing all of this every single day for free. And again, no cell phone or computer. So he's making these cold calls to schools or to organizations saying, I'd like to come in and speak with your students. And they're like, okay, well, email me your plan of what you want to say. Well, can I send it to you in the mail? Or can I meet with you in person? It's incredible how his life is so different from ours. But that's what he chooses because he says it's better for his OCD to not have the phone and the computer. But he is not on a single medication either. He says by doing all of this and rewiring his brain, he has cured his own OCD through living this new life. Just a fascinating man. And I was really happy to share so much time with him.
You said, or in the story, he's traveling across the world?
Well, now he's going to the Dominican Republic on a mission trip with the chapel, but he will be sharing his message there as well.
Very cool.
Thanks,
Jimmy V.
Sammy V.
Like I said, Sammy V. That's great.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.